Hi, I'm Chris Baxter with Wilderness Redefined. Today I'm going to show you just how easy it is to set up and light a 2-burner camping stove. This is my 2-burner propane stove that I use when I'm front country camping. Basically camping with my car or a place where I don't have to carry my gear into my campsite. So it has 2 burners on it, and this particular stove runs on propane. This stove happens to be made by Coleman, but there's lots of other companies that make similar types of 2-burner stoves. I'm going to start by opening the stove up. There's a latch in the front that releases the lid, and I'm going to lie this lid flat. This piece is what we call the regulator. The regulator is used to connect the propane source to the stove, and it regulates the pressure from the bottle to the stove so that you have a constant supply of gas. So this particular stove has a port right here for screwing in the regulator. You'll often find the port closest to the power knobs that exist at the front of the stove. I'm just going to push this back just slightly so we can see them a little bit better. So I'm going to start off by screwing the regulator into the stove, and I'm going to do it so that it's hand tight. Okay? You don't need any tools for this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to screw in the propane canister into the other end of the regulator. This happens to be a 1-liter recyclable propane canister. I'm going to show you how to hook the same stove up to a better system in just a few minutes. But for now, we're going to have a threaded portion at the top of the canister, and I'm going to thread this into the regulator. Now before doing this, you want to make sure that your burners are actually off, full off, so that gas does not leak out as soon as you screw the canister in. These my burners are off. I'm going to keep this cap somewhere where I'm not going to lose it, because it prevents grime from getting into the threads and then fouling up your regulator. So this stove has a windscreen. Okay. To light the stove, I like using one of these barbecue lighters. Okay, they've got a child lock on them, so you have to typically pull a trigger and then pull another trigger to get it to light. And what I do is I like to have this at the burner, and then I turn the burner on. And now that stove's lit. The reason you light your lighter first and not the burner is that if you turn the burner on, a whole bunch of gas will collect around the burner, and then when you go to spark it up, you'll have a little bit of an explosion. Okay? Always start with the burner closest to the fuel supply. If you then need to light a second burner, you can repeat the process. So these knobs control the degree of flame in the stove. I can turn them way down if I want to simmer or fry something, and I can turn them way up for boiling water. To turn the stove off, very simple. Just turn the knobs until the supply is off. Once the stove has had a chance to cool, you can simply reverse the process. So unscrew the cylinder. Replace the cap. Unscrew the regulator. And return it to its storage position. If you don't want to use these 1-liter canisters, which have become quite expensive, especially for the amount of fuel you get in them, there's only 1 liter, okay, which is good for a day or two at most, depending on how much cooking you're going to do. There is a way to connect this same stove to a barbecue tank, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. I've got myself a 5-liter propane tank. This will last for almost a week of camping, and it's refillable at any propane refilling station, much cheaper than the 1 liter cylinder as I was showing you. So this is just a 5 liter tank. I'm going to put this on the ground. I am going to remove the cap, and I am going to thread the hose into the propane cylinder. Now, what's important to note about propane is it often threads opposite to the way you would think. So it's normally righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. This is actually lefty-tighty. Okay, so I'm turning this way. This particular hose inserts into the tank. There are others that go on the outside as well. Okay, so I've hooked up the tank. Now I'm going to attach the hose to the other side, which is the regulator. Okay. And this one does, on the stoves, I think they made it easier on the stove regulator side. You do right-hand turn to screw it in. There we go. Just want to make sure you don't cross thread it. So you want to, oh, got our first mosquito of the season. There we go. And that's now hand tightened, okay? And then I push that out of the way. Once we're here again, making sure the stove is off, we can open up the gas on the propane cylinder. Lighter, and then turn the burner on. And that's all there is to it. I'm Chris Baxter with Wilderness Redefined. Thanks for joining me today to learn how to light a 2-burner camping stove. Happy camping.